A liquid mass of clay called slurry. Who would have thought that this will become porcelain? Only a day later, this mass of kaolin, heat-proof clay, quartz and dolomite will transform into the old fisherman from Pushkin's goldfish. We need to pour it evenly. This is how the product is made. It will be formed inside these shells. Then the rest of the slurry is poured in. Only the outer layer of the sculpture dries inside the clay shell. The figure itself is hollow. It all depends on what we're making. If it is a sculpture, then we need a smaller one, and a bigger one for a salad dish. I cannot really tell how long it takes. That comes with experience. You need to know how to tell the right moisture level and age of the form itself, be it young or old. Valentina Golubova is indeed experienced. She produces up to 100 small pieces a day. They can't be produced as a single piece because the technology is very complex. It is much easier to make them separately and then put them all together. This sculpture has 6 additional pieces. It looks like a monolith, but it was actually put together by parts.
Вроде незаметно, она вся монолитной кажется, а на самом деле она представляется кусками.
It's all because the glue is the very mixture used to make handles and cups. We need to make it thicker to make it stick. We make it as thick as the slurry itself, only it is a different composition.
Практически так же, только другой состав.
After the initial assembly, the product is sent to the first stage of firing. This is the furnace workshop. This is where all the products are fired. Small sculptures and cups are placed inside these huge furnaces, 7 of them, but it's only hot on the inside. 900-degree heat is used to fire the future porcelain products for the first time. They're heated for 16 hours. Not all of them survive the ordeal. Many give cracks. There's many reasons for this. There are inspections made during every stage. The raw and the dried products are checked, but anything can happen when dealing with fire. The products are placed on low shelves made from heat-proof materials and then rolled inside the furnaces, which are closed. The gas is then turned on and the firing begins. To make sure dust and scrap doesn't fall on the products, the shells are carefully blown over. They're incredibly clean, just like every other stage of production. The porcelain undergoes so-called cleanup under the supervision of a controller in this workshop. The products are placed inside a special rose tub to expose all the cracks and roughnesses. They emerge in a glamorous color. This tone makes it possible to see all the details. This is a defect. The artists will not work on this product. Unlike this bowl, only a few minutes later, it'll be covered with paintings of roses. On one side, the darker one, I apply paint, and water on the other. This is how we paint our traditional Gzhel flowers. Every additional petal is smaller than the previous one.
То есть каждый следующий лепесток меньше предыдущего.
A single wrong move and the entire product is ruined. This is special cobalt paint. It soaks up instantly in the fragile material. The artists train for a long time before they are allowed to paint on mass products or authors' items because they have no margin for error.
Так как права на ошибку у них уже нету.
So the artists work with their sleeves rolled up, just like the rest of their colleagues. The masters of this workshop are elbow-deep in glaze. So what are we doing now? We're going to cover it with glaze. The glaze is in this tub. We need to mix it before we can dip the products inside. The mixture needs to be evenly spread. Then we take the product. So what's the right way to hold it? Like this. Don't rush it. Dip the whole thing in, but don't hold it there for long. Turn it. Now pull it back out.
И выливаю. Что у нас происходит?
So what's happening now? This is white glaze. It's covered in it. After glazing, the product will go back to firing. The glaze melts under the heat. This is liquid glass.
Глазурь плавится. Глазурь – это жидкое стекло. Один компонент из глазури – жидкое стекло. При большой температуре в обжиге это стекло плавится.
Of course it melts when the temperature is more than 1,000 degrees. The rose tint on the cups and bowls burns out, while the gray cobalt paint turns dark blue. So here is the porcelain with the traditional painting. However, they only started looking like this after World War II. Before then, the products were painted with different colors and covered in gold. Just like this collection from the late 19th century from entrepreneur Matvey Kuznetsov. He was known as the King of Porcelain. Other merchants followed in his footsteps and founded these very workshops.
After
the revolution, the production lines were being restored and people didn't really think much about art tradition back then because they simply needed a job. In 1924, the local Komsomol opened the Artel ceramics firm in this factory. There were many old samples and forms here. They found some old Gzhel chess pieces, and so the artists were inspired to make new ones. There's an entire display of them here, in fact.
И художники, которые уже в 80-е годы здесь работали, вот один из них, заслуженный художник Юра Гаранин, вот его осенила идея сделать новые гжельские шахматы, целая витрина у него здесь сейчас стоит.
The echoes of Tsarist times are felt here in more things than chess. There were small sculptures, clocks and jugs. Antique vessels were turned into pompous sculptures by Viktor Nepluev. For example, a jug like this is an entire autobiography. It took the artist about a year to paint. At the center is the author's portrait, with porcelain figures within, also made from noble materials. Gzhel can demonstrate an entire theater act, and it doesn't need a stage to do so. However, the paintings were not always famous for this. There was a lot of arguments among my colleagues of art experts. Some of them said that the pictures and even the flowers should be painted in different colors. But during the process of production, we proved that it all has a right to exist in this very form, and be very interesting at that. Gzhel is known as the cradle of Russian porcelain for a good reason. The first mention of Gzhel dates back to 1339. That was when these lands became a real center of ceramic production due to the amount of clay here. It was useful for making sculptures, crockery, and even water pipes. The wonderful traits of this material were also valued way back in the Neolithic era. The oldest exhibit found here dates back to the 6th millennium BC. The unique riches were also described by Mikhail Lomonosov. More than 17 types of clay were discovered in the Gzhel area. White clay is perfect for making porcelain. The fragile and light material was quickly noticed by housekeepers and then by artists. Elmira Orlova was preparing to paint on wooden products, but soon switched to working on Gzhel. Right now, she's using the so-called overglaze technique, painting with glaze over a ready product. There are various tricks to this trade. Much of it is the same. You still need to paint a composition everywhere, but it is interesting any way you put it. Porcelain is simply more useful for households, as dishes and so on. And when the dishes and jugs look this good, it feels better eating and drinking from them.
Пользоваться, да? А когда посуда еще красивая, то из нее, мне кажется, есть и пить приятнее намного.
Gzhel is known across the world. Chinese producers now want to know the secrets of producing such soft Russian porcelain. The local masters say there's no magic to any of it. All it takes is professional labor and artistic inspiration. Anastasia Shkitina, Vladimir Bragin, TV Bricks.